Today, I want to talk to you about a man whose ideas changed the way millions of people think about money, life, and success. His name is Robert T. Kiyosaki. He is the author of the famous book Rich Dad Poor Dad, a book that has been read all over the world and translated into many languages. But this speech is not just about a book. It is about a mindset. It is about courage. It is about learning to think differently in a world that often teaches us the same old ideas again and again. Robert T. Kiyosaki was not born rich. He was not born with a silver spoon in his mouth. He was born into an ordinary family, just like many of us. His father, whom he later called his poor dad, was a very educated man. He had good grades, he went to good schools, and he believed strongly in the traditional path of life. That path was simple and familiar. Go to school, study hard, get good grades, find a safe job, work hard for many years, save money, and then retire. This was the advice his poor dad gave him, and it is the same advice many parents still give their children today. But Robert Kiyosaki had another father figure in his life, whom he later called his rich dad. This man was not highly educated. He did not have many school degrees. But he had something very powerful. He understood money. He understood business. He understood how the world really works when it comes to wealth. And most importantly, he understood mindset. This rich dad taught Robert lessons that schools never teach. Lessons about assets and liabilities, lessons about risk, lessons about fear, and lessons about freedom. As a young boy, Robert was confused. Two fathers were giving him two very different types of advice. One said, "Study hard so you can work for money." The other said, "Learn so money can work for you." One said, "Avoid mistakes and play it safe." The other said, "Mistakes are part of learning and growth." One said, "Money is the root of all evil." The other said, "Lack of money is the real problem." These opposite ideas forced Robert to think deeply. Instead of choosing one side blindly, he decided to observe, learn, and question everything. This is where the real inspiration begins. Robert Kiyosaki did not accept life as it was handed to him. He did not say, "This is how everyone lives, so this is how I must live too." He dared to ask questions that many people are afraid to ask. Why do smart people struggle with money? Why do people with good jobs still feel trapped? Why do schools teach us many subjects but not how to manage money? These questions became the foundation of his journey. As Robert grew older, life did not become easy for him. He faced failure many times. He started businesses that failed. He lost money. He made wrong decisions. He felt fear, doubt, and embarrassment. There were moments when he was broke. There were moments when people laughed at his ideas. But what made him different was not that he avoided failure. It was that he did not quit because of failure. He learned from it. He used it as a teacher instead of an enemy. One of the most powerful lessons from Robert Kiyosaki's life is that fear is normal. Everyone feels fear. Fear of losing money, fear of being judged, fear of starting something new, fear of failure. The difference between successful people and unsuccessful people is not fear. The difference is how they respond to fear. Most people let fear control them. They choose safety over growth. They choose comfort over learning. They stay in jobs they hate because they are afraid of uncertainty. Robert learned early that fear can either be a prison or a signal to grow. In Rich Dad, Poor Dad, he explains that many people work very hard their entire lives, but they never become free. They wake up early, rush to work, pay bills, worry about money, and repeat the same cycle every month and every year. This cycle is what he calls the rat race. People are running, but they are not going anywhere. They are busy, but they are not free. And the sad part is that many people believe this is normal life. Robert Kiyosaki challenges this belief. He says that freedom comes from learning, not just earning. He says that a high salary does not guarantee wealth. In fact, many high-income earners are deeply in debt and under stress. What matters is not how much money you make, but how much you keep, how you grow it, and how you think about it. This idea is simple, but very powerful. It changes the way you see your job, your education, and your future. Another important lesson from his life is the value of self-education. Robert does not say that school is useless. He says that school alone is not enough. Schools train students to be good employees, but not to be financially independent. Schools teach us how to work for money, but not how money works. Because of this, many intelligent people struggle financially, while others with less formal education succeed because they understand cash flow, investment, and business. Robert chose to educate himself beyond school. He read books, attended seminars, listened to mentors, and learned from real-life experiences. He understood that learning does not stop after graduation. In fact, real learning begins when you take responsibility for your own life. This message is especially important for beginners, because it means you do not need to be perfect or know everything to start. You just need the willingness to learn. His story also teaches us about the power of choice. Robert often says that life is full of choices, and every choice has a cost. Choosing safety has a cost. Choosing growth has a cost. Choosing comfort has a cost. But the cost of not choosing at all is often the greatest. Many people wait for the perfect moment, the perfect plan, or the perfect conditions. But that moment never comes. Robert chose action over waiting. He chose learning over excuses. As time passed, Robert Kiyosaki's ideas became clearer and stronger. He began to understand that true wealth is not just about money. It is about freedom. Freedom of time. Freedom of choice. Freedom to live life on your own terms. Money is just a tool. When used wisely, it can give you options. When misunderstood, it can become a source of stress and pain. When he finally wrote Rich Dad, Poor Dad, it was not just a book. It was a message to the world. A message that said, you are not stupid if you struggle with money. You were just not taught the right things. A message that said, you can change your future by changing your mindset. A message that said, it is never too late to learn. At first, many publishers rejected his book. They said it was too different. They said it went against traditional advice. They said people would not understand it. But Robert believed in his message. He did not give up. And when the book finally reached readers, something incredible happened. People saw themselves in his story. They felt understood. They felt hopeful. The book spread from person to person, not because of advertising, but because of impact. Today, Robert T. Kiyosaki is known all over the world. But what makes his story truly inspiring is not his fame or wealth. It is his courage to think differently. His courage to question the system. His courage to fail, learn, and try again. He reminds us that you do not need to be born rich to become rich in knowledge, mindset, and opportunity. And this is where I want you, listening to this speech, to reflect on your own life. Where are you right now? What beliefs about money were you taught? Are those beliefs helping you or holding you back? Are you living by fear or by learning? You do not need to have all the answers today. You just need to start asking better questions. As we continue this journey, it is important to understand that Robert Kiyosaki never wanted people to simply admire his success. He wanted people to wake up. He wanted people to see the invisible rules that control their lives. Many people believe money problems come from bad luck, low salary, or unfair systems. Robert believed the real problem often starts in the mind. The way people think about money decides how money behaves in their lives. From a young age, Robert learned that words have power. His poor dad often said, "I can't afford it." These words closed the mind. They stopped thinking. They ended the conversation before it even began. His rich dad, however, never allowed those words. Instead, he would say, "How can I afford it?" This small change made a big difference. One sentence created a wall. The other opened a door. One killed creativity. The other forced the brain to think, plan, and grow. This lesson may sound simple, but it is deeply powerful. Many people unknowingly limit themselves with their own language. They say things like, "I am bad with money," or "I will never be rich," or "This is not for people like me." Robert teaches us that every time you say these words, you are programming your mind to accept a small life. When you change your words, you begin to change your thinking. And when thinking changes, actions change too. Robert also learned that working hard is not the same as working smart. His poor dad believed in job security. He believed that loyalty to a company would bring stability and peace. But Robert saw many loyal workers lose their jobs when companies changed or failed. He realized that depending on one paycheck is risky. True security, according to his rich dad, comes from skills, knowledge, and multiple sources of income. This idea is uncomfortable for many people because it challenges what they have been taught all their lives. It is easier to believe that someone else will take care of us. It is easier to believe that a job will always be there. But Robert learned that the world is always changing. Technology changes. Economies change. Industries rise and fall. Those who survive and succeed are not the strongest or the smartest, but the most adaptable. Another important lesson from Robert Kiyosaki's life is the difference between being busy and being productive. Many people are always busy. They wake up tired, rush through their day, and collapse at night. They feel proud of being busy. But busy does not always mean progress. Robert noticed that many people stay busy to avoid thinking. They avoid facing hard questions about their future. They stay busy so they don't have to change. Rich Dad taught Robert to take time to think, to sit quietly and reflect, to ask questions like, where is my money going, and why am I working so hard, and what do I really want from life? These questions can feel uncomfortable, but they are necessary. Without reflection, people repeat the same mistakes again and again. Failure played a big role in Robert's journey. He failed many times, but he never saw failure as the end. He saw it as feedback. When something did not work, he did not say, I am a failure. He said, this method failed, now what can I learn from it? This mindset protected his confidence and kept his curiosity alive. Many people lose confidence after one failure because they connect failure to their identity. Robert separated who he was from what happened. This is a very important lesson for beginners. You are not your mistakes. You are not your past. You are not your bank balance. You are a learner. And learners grow. When you understand this, fear begins to lose its power over you. Robert often talked about emotions in money. He noticed that people make bad money decisions when emotions take control. Fear and greed are two strong emotions that control the financial lives of many people. Fear stops people from investing or trying new things. Greed pushes people to take reckless risks without thinking. Rich Dad taught Robert to stay calm, patient, and educated. Knowledge reduces fear. Experience reduces confusion. He also learned that money flows toward those who understand it. Money is not emotional. Money follows rules. When you learn the rules, you can play the game better. When you don't know the rules, you get punished, even if you are a good person. Robert did not blame the system. He chose to learn the system. Another lesson that shaped his life was the idea of assets and liabilities. While his poor dad focused on earning and spending, his rich dad focused on acquiring assets. Assets, according to Robert, are things that put money into your pocket. Liabilities are things that take money out. This simple idea changed the way he looked at everything. He did not buy things to look rich. He bought things that helped him grow financially. Many people try to impress others with expensive cars, big houses, and luxury items, but they feel stressed and trapped inside. Robert learned that looking rich and being rich are very different things. True wealth is quiet. It grows slowly. It is built with discipline and patience. It does not need approval from others. As Robert grew older, he also understood the importance of teaching others. Knowledge grows when it is shared. Writing Rich Dad Poor Dad was his way of teaching the world what he had learned. He did not write in complicated language. He did not use difficult words. He wrote simply, because he wanted everyone to understand, not just experts. He believed that everyone deserves a chance to learn about money. He believed that financial education should not be a secret for the rich only. This belief made his message powerful and universal. People from different countries, cultures, and backgrounds connected with his story because it felt real and honest. Robert's life also shows us the importance of taking responsibility. He did not blame his parents, his teachers, or the government for what he did not know. Once he realized there was a gap in his education, he took responsibility to fill it. This shift from blaming to learning is a turning point in anyone's life. When you stop blaming, you start growing. He often said that the most powerful asset you can build is your mind. Money can be lost and regained. Businesses can fail and restart. But a trained mind can create wealth again and again. This is why he focused so much on mindset. Without the right mindset, even a large amount of money can disappear quickly. With the right mindset, even small opportunities can grow into something big. As you listen to this speech, remember that Robert T. Kiyosaki is not asking you to quit your job tomorrow or take reckless risks. He is asking you to think differently today. To question what you were taught. To start learning about money, even if it feels uncomfortable. To understand that your future is shaped by daily choices, not one big decision. This journey is not about becoming rich overnight. It is about becoming aware. Aware of your habits. Aware of your beliefs. Aware of your options. Awareness is the first step toward change. Once you see clearly, you cannot unsee. As we come to the end of this speech, remember that the story of Robert Kiyosaki is not just his story. It is a reminder that every person listening has the power to change the direction of their life. You do not need to be perfect. You do not need to be rich today. You only need the courage to learn, to think differently, and to take small steps forward. The lessons from Rich Dad Poor Dad are not about money alone. They are about freedom, confidence, and believing that you can create a better future for yourself. No matter where you come from, no matter how difficult your past has been, your mindset can open new doors. If you start asking better questions, learning every day, and facing fear instead of running from it, your life can change in ways you never imagined. Let this message stay with you. Let it push you to learn more, grow more, and never stop believing in your potential. Thank you for taking the time to be with us today and for listening until the end. If this speech inspired you or helped you think differently, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so more people can hear this message and start their own journey of growth and success. Thank you, and may your future be filled with learning, courage, and opportunity.